Question number 8, Mark Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister for Economic Development, what reports has he received demonstrating New Zealand's improved export performance?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I have received the 5-yearly Census of International Trade in Services and Royalties. It shows exports in commercial services have increased to $4 billion in 2011, which is an increase of 60% over the last 5 years. And there has been significant diversification away from traditional tourism services towards computer services, management and royalties. This is good news for New Zealand, as these sorts of service exports are less affected by the distance from markets, which has always been one of the challenges in the past for New Zealand relative to other countries. And it comes on top of recent news that New Zealand's merchandise trade grew nearly 10% in the calendar year last year, and these are all signs of a strengthening export growth story.
Mark Mitchell.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker. What reports has he received showing that this export-led growth will continue?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I've received the HSBC report, World in 2050. According to HSBC economists, New Zealand is first amongst all developed countries in terms of its export-led growth potential, with GDP growth forecast to average 3.4% over the 10-year period to 2020. This is an encouraging projection, ahead of others like Australia at 2.4%, Canada at 2.3% and the UK at 1.6%. New Zealand's strong outlook is attributed by these economists to the government's focus on exports, investment in technology infrastructure like ultra-fast broadband, and New Zealand's strong performance in education and skills training.
The Honourable David Cunliffe.
By how many $billion is his own government projecting the current account deficit to worsen over the next 4 years?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, the pre-election update last year forecast the current account deficit to widen by about just under $5 billion over the next 4 years. And the main reason for that, apart from export prices coming off their record highs, is the Canterbury rebuild, which will forecast to increase import payments. But I think that just underscores the requirement to get stronger export growths.
Mark Mitchell.
How important is export-led growth to boosting jobs and incomes in New Zealand?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, very important. As a small trading nation, New Zealand's economic growth strongly relies on our ability to trade successfully with the rest of the world. Growing exports boosts our incomes relative to other countries, increasing our standard of living and making New Zealand a more attractive place to live and bring up a family. New Zealand cannot become prosperous trading with itself. New Zealand's exports as a share of GDP sits at around 30%, in comparison with around 40 to 55% of similar-sized countries overseas. That is why this government has made it a priority to reverse the unbalanced concentration of growth in the non-tradable sectors by ensuring businesses have access to necessary skills, capital, resources, infrastructure, capital markets and export markets needed to build a stronger economy.
Question number 9, the Honourable Nanaia Mahuta.